What up guys, Autopop here. It has been a while since I have touched Genshin Impact, so I basically spent a long time trying to get through a bunch of just mail related stuff and trying to, figure out my character leveling and stuff like that. And I realized that something's up with the constellation for my main character. Okay, that's a little loud. Raging Vortex pulls in opponents and objects within a 5-meter radius. So I think that's what I currently use, but apparently I can activate this constellation. So I now have a special ability, I think. I think that's what that means. But I can actually ascend Kaya now. So, hallelujah!
Not bad.
Yeah, I know, not bad at all. Noelle cannot ascend, Kaya just ascended, Lisa cannot ascend, because I need these Valberries, which are found in the wild in the Stormbearer Mountains. Wherever the frick that is. And then Amber is ascended and is pretty leveled up, and so is my player character. So, hip hip hooray! Now, the Eye of the Storm has been sighted in the wilderness, threatening the safety of the peripheral areas. Defeated to put an end to the threat. Oh boy. Oh boy. So, okay. So maybe... Oh! I haven't even unlocked this, this waypoint yet. Okay. Well, it's the Stormbearer Mountains. I kind of need to head over there anyways, so I might as well, honestly. And yes, I can probably just head there of my own free will. So, I know, I'm absolutely scaring the birds away. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but what are you gonna do? It has been a while since I had to do anything of this sort. But anyways, I would definitely love to start talking again about some writing related stuff, because that's what I like to do with this particular series for whatever reason. Like, I don't know, it just kind of really engages me for whatever reason. And a topic that I've actually been wanting to talk about for a while relates to world building, specifically fantasy world building, which is kind of where some of my strengths tend to shine just a little bit. Oh, do I have to deal with these guys? Oh, shit. Bloop. Ooh, shit. Okay, well.
Let it rain.
Okay, well.
You're in for a little shock.
Oh, geez, Okay.
Come a little closer.
Okay.
You're in for a little
Oh my gosh.
Dodge this.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I managed to dodge that, I'll be honest. Alright. There we go. Alright. Bada bing, bada boom. It's... Oh, geez, there's still another enemy. Jesu Cristo. Hey, bada boopy. Oh, shoot. Bada boopy. Oh, that's rude. Excuse me, sir. Oh, shit. Oh, crap.
Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock.
Okay.
Freeze.
Okay. Oh. Co-op? What? Co-op unlocked. Oh, I didn't realize I had to unlock that shite. Ooh. Adventure rank increased. Halla frickin' Luya. I still do need to get better at, talking while I'm actually in combat. Oh. Hold up. There is... Oh, there it is. Da-da-da, there it is. Boop. Boop. And no, you don't. How about... I don't think so. Sweet. An Animalculus. Somehow I missed that, even though that was actually pretty close to Mondstadt, relatively speaking. But anyways, I've been wanting to talk about world building for quite some time, especially in relation to fantasy world building, because fantasy world building is kind of a strength of mine. Well, I mean, the fantasy in general is just kind of a big strength of mine. But I figured that that would go hand in hand with playing Genshin in particular because, you know, it's a big open fantasy world. So, first off, let's kind of go like super basic for just a moment, just a hot second. So, the most recognized genres of fiction as it currently stands include like fantasy and sci-fi, which is science fiction, but I'm sure plenty of people already knew that. There's also horror and thriller, mystery, tragedy, historical fiction, romance, realistic fiction. That's actually one that people aren't quite as familiar with, and one that people are even less familiar with is literary fiction. And those are generally regarded as some of the most prominent categories within genres itself. Okay, I might need to go all the way around somehow. Oh wait, no, I think I gotta go back down to the Whispering Woods and then go back up that way. Okay. I see how it is. So the focus of this video will definitely be fantasy world building, because again, not only is that kind of my specialty in a ways, I may not be a professional, but it is still my specialty, but it is also very closely tied to the idea of this game in general because it is a big open fantasy type world, essentially. Most of the worlds that I've created are fantasy. It's kind of been my genre of choice for a very long time now. So the fantasy genre is typically Hello, Choo Choo. I've definitely been playing Breath of the Wild a lot more, so I recognize them as Choo Choos because I can't remember their actual names in this particular game, which is essentially kind of an offshoot of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But the fantasy genre is characterized by imaginative worlds, often containing rules and concepts that are frequently inspired by various myths, folklores, magics, and ancient creatures. Was that you who was talking? Have I encountered you before? I don't know. You don't look familiar. Okay, hold up. Front of you is the danger zone, huh? Could you possibly be... What's wrong? Your attire. Could you be the traveler they spoke of? You don't? Your heroic deeds have already spread across Mondstadt. I heard that it was you who put an end to the storms that terrorize Mondstadt. Though I believe you're capable of dealing with the monsters ahead, I'd still like to ask you to watch out and take care. Oh. Thank you, good sir. Fantasy isn't limiting to just those... Okay.
Windblade.
Oh, that's right. Ow, for frock's sake. Okay, how about this? Let's try this instead. Alright, there we go. That'll do. But fantasy isn't just necessarily limited to that. And boop! Yeah, fantasy is not quite as limited as a lot of people might necessarily think. I mean... Oh, scheisse! There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, subgenres of fantasy include, you know, high fantasy, urban fantasy, magical realism, and fairy tales. Those are definitely some very common ones. Oh, wait. Oh! I kept using shift to run. I didn't realize I could also use right-click. Oh my god, that makes things so much easier. Popular book examples of fantasy include, you know, Lord of the Rings, that's definitely a big one, Game of Thrones, Avatar The Last Airbender, and Buffy. And those are ones that I've either watched or I'm very familiar with. Now, for those who don't necessarily watch a lot of TV shows or movies, popular anime examples include, you know, Fairy Tail, Black Clover, Sailor Moon, and Bleach are very big and popular ones. And popular game examples include, you know, Elden Ring, The Witcher, Legend of Zelda, pretty much any of those games, really. And, of course, Genshin Impact. When I say imaginary worlds in terms of you know, in terms of how to define the fantasy genre in general, whatever medium it takes. I mean, imaginary worlds are often, but not always, based on your own imagination mixed with existing concepts that are not real, that don't exist in reality. Oh my gosh, there's so many of these. Holy moly. A white iron chunk. Oh, that can be very useful stuff. Holy shnikes. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. But yeah, think magic or fantastical creatures such as in fantasy or space exploration and futuristic gadgetry, you know, with worlds like in sci-fi that you would see in sci-fi universes. Many fantasy, sci-fi, and imaginary worlds can be generically based off of general concepts of certain time periods. I might actually use kind of one of my own, like some of my own stories as examples, because it's kind of the easiest for me to draw off on, but I can usually explain it in a way that makes sense. My most prominent story so far, actually, it's called Hunters. It's a wolf comic. It's centered on an entirely imaginary world with unfamiliar geography and settings that don't exist in the real world, nor have they ever existed in history. And while the laws of the natural world are still followed to the T, as if it were our own world, the wolf pack that the protagonist, Larouk, lives with does not follow these does not follow this natural order because they have, you know, supernatural capabilities. And a large basis of the show is supernatural in of itself. Is this still white? No, it's just regular iron. Sorry. I usually like to use him because he's got the strongest chest. I'm sorry. He usually has the strongest sword. So it's... Oh, wait, duh. Boop. Let me see. Oh, shit. Ba-ba-da-boopy. Oh, that was, something. There's another story that I have. It's called Fire Breathers. I actually haven't touched this one in a little bit. But it's set in a completely fictional world and environment, and has a society that I actually tried to associate with similar to like the low Middle Ages of our real world history. With the addition of, you know, large Western style dragons in its world. So again, it's completely fictitious in nature. I have hunters, I have fire breathers. Another one of my stories, it's called Dragon Slayers. No relation to the fire breather story, by the way. But Dragon Slayers is set in a completely fictional world filled with, you know, magic and basically like, you know, monsters or demons, however you might want to put it. Oh, they're wind-based, so maybe I will use my character. I think not. Good try, my man. You failed, however.
Fortunate.
Well, fortunate indeed, actually. Oh, Valberries. Hold up a second. Do I have 3 Valberries? I might. I need to check, though. Character. Here we go. I can now ascend Lisa.
Surely you don't want me working over...
I'm not sure exactly what you were about to say. Alright. Sweet. So now the only one I have to ascend is Noelle. Okay.
What
Well.
is this new power?
Alright, well, she's ascended now. Alright, coolio. Perfect. I have achieved what I set out to achieve, so hallelujah. Oh boy. Oh shit! Oh! Fudge on a fudgesicle.
You're in for a little shock.
Oh shiitake mushrooms. Oh crap on a cracker.
No escape!
Okay, that actually was fairly useful. Oh jeezums.
Oh, so sorry.
Okay, that was actually pretty useful as well. Alright. Ooh, crap on a crack. Okay. Okay, I just have to be... Oh, jeez.
Told you I'd win.
Cool it.
Oh my goodness, this
What's
is
the hurry?
this is quite the... What do you... Oh, screw off with what's the whole hurry stuff. Oh my gosh, this is quite the unpleasant enemy, I must say. I mean, not necessarily unpleasant, it's actually quite easy to figure out its pattern, but still.
What's the hurry? Dodge this.
Oh.
Let it rain.
Yeah, this is a good one against this thing. I was waiting to be able to use Amber's special capability.
Windblade.
Oh, shit. I did not mean to do that.
Bet you can't keep up with me.
Okay, there. Oh, there we go. There we go. Absorb the wind crystals to. Okay, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, it's still got a little more left, huh? Alright. Ooh, that was really close.
Get him.
Come on, I'm so close to being able to use my ultimate attack. Oh, no. Damn. Used that at the wrong time. That would have been a great move, great finishing move to use. Because that would have nearly decimated it. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Wait, no? Not quite? Oh, there it goes. Wait, no, what? Oh, no, 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 no. I accidentally exited. Shit.
I'll race you there.
Whew. Revitalize the Ley Line Blossom to claim a reward. 40 original resin required. Yeah? Oh! Nice. Okay. That's pretty useful, I think. That's relatively good stuff, so yeah, sure, I'll take it. Ah, man, sorry. That really took my attention away from, like, writing topics and stuff like that. I do apologize for that. So back to some of the original story stuff that I was talking about earlier. I believe, yeah, I believe I was talking about some of my own stories and like some of the examples that I use for my stories and the kinds of worlds that they have, from Hunters being, pretty much a fictional world with, grounded physics, I guess you can say, but still having its own uniqueness to it and its own supernatural element about it. I think I had mentioned Fire Breathers as well, where it's a completely imaginative and fictional world that basically kind of follows its own rules in a sense, and has dragons as well. So they're what the frick was that? But I think I was also talking about Dragon Slayers, which I'd only been able to hit on a little bit. Because it's also...
Come a little closer.
Oh, jeez. It's so hard to be doing all this at the same time.
Cool it.
There we go. Nice try. Nice try, Bisnatch. But Dragon Slayers is a completely fictional world as well, filled with, magic and monsters, but many of the monsters and demons are based off of real life, monster stories and myths and whatnot. I say real, but quote unquote. Then they may not have the same technology that we have today. There's still the normal influence of certain things related to like physics and chemistry and whatnot. One of my less developed stories, I've called it 10th. I actually haven't started writing it. I'm still kind of in the planning stages, but it is actually,
Dodge this.
it is a legitimate space opera story that I've created.
Frostbite.
The setting that I have 10th set for, again, space opera, but the setting is constantly changing to various planet environments, from futuristic city planets, like what we picture a lot of sci-fi worlds to maybe look like, to simple swamp planets with no advanced technology or anything crazy like that. Can I actually do anything here? Oh. I need a really high adventure rank in order to even do anything over there. Okay, got it. Obviously, Genshin Impact falls into the fantasy category with its use of elemental power and gods, and again, it doesn't actually match anything that's in our world today. Obviously, with its environments and towns and whatnot. I mean, Mondstadt, Liyue, and etc., etc. And of course, the same goes for the plethora of bizarre creatures that are roaming the lands. The Hilly Turles, the slimes, just all of the monsters that, you see on a pretty much day-to-day basis. So the creation of imaginary worlds is not just limited to the imagination. Many concepts and timelines and characters... But yeah, it's not just limited to your own imagination whenever you are creating a fantasy world. You can use concepts and timelines and characters that are inspired from, real stories and real people and real places that do exist in the real world. I mean, Greek and Roman mythology are very popular subjects to draw from, draw inspiration from, for one thing. Other mythologies include, Egyptian... Oh, I just realized that was a squirrel. I thought that was something else. Egyptian, Norse, Native American, Hindu, Aztec, like a lot of these cultures and their mythologies or whatnot are used as inspiration for all kinds of stories. Oh. I don't really trust myself with that. I'll be completely honest. I'm not going to worry about this particular waypoint for now. Oh, somehow I've missed this one as well. I don't even think I've been that far yet. Everyone seems to be troubled. Okay. Oh, that's what was showing in Mondstadt. Gotcha. I feel like running, huh? Well, I don't feel... I mean, I could feel like running, but just not teleporting, because, that gives me more time to actually talk. Many demons and supernatural creatures from like Chinese and Japanese folklore. I mean, think dragons and kitsune and stuff like that. Those are also common inspirations for a lot of stories or concepts or characters, like fables and tales, like Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, Robin Hood, the Tortoise and the Hare. Like those kinds of little stories can also be used as inspiration for many fantastical creations out there. I mean, there's a number of them. And you can also incorporate both real and imaginary worlds set in the same story, whether they have separate identities or whether aspects of each are combined in some way, which, I mean, both are done. There's another story of mine, it's called Sync. It's set in the modern day with the same technology and cities and society associated with late 2010s, give or take. So it's basically an ordinary world, but with the addition of the fact that there are varying kinds of magic users who live in secret amongst the normal populace. But otherwise, it's a completely ordinary world. It just has a couple of fantastical elements thrown in, which I think would classify it as an urban fantasy in this case. Because again, the main setting is basically like an ordinary city. Oh. Completely forgot to press the space bar. You can also take the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a decent example of this as well. Some of the locations are on Earth, and there are some locations that are in space
I
and
won't
are
let you
completely imaginary and unique. The society that exists on Earth is near identical to the one we currently live in, just, ours does not have superheroes or magic or crazy science or anything like that. The Chronicles of Narnia is actually a really good example too. Most of the books are set in a fantastical land, like a parallel universe of sorts, with magic and talking animals and whatnot. But there's also a very real world that's set in the 1900s, like the 1920s, 30s, 40s. Maybe it is the 1940s because I think World War II is going on when the first movie crops up. But yeah, Chronicles of Narnia, this fantastical, magical land, but it's just a parallel universe to a completely ordinary world that's set in like the 1940s or 50s, and it's basically near identical to ours in terms of its history and setting and whatnot. It's pretty, again, completely ordinary in nature. Hello, what's up? What to do? What's wrong? Your daughter Ellen has her heart set on joining the Knights of Livonia. She's training for the tryouts now. You really hope to mentor her, but she doesn't believe you when she says you used to be an adventurer. She just wants to train alone. There's nothing you can do to prove it to her either. Once you've got a wife and kids, it'd be selfish and reckless to carry on going out on these dangerous adventures. Your responsibility to care for your family takes priority over the ego boost you get. Fair enough. You're still an adventurer at heart, and you certainly know a thing or two about it. Do you, though? Nah, I mean, you kind of seem like you did once when you were on an adventure. Notice wooden dummies that Hilly Turles use for combat training. Pretty sturdy. Maybe great for your daughter to train with. They're only Hilly Turles, you can take them. Yeah. Yep. Just joking. Alright. Seem. Oh. Don't mind that. Don't mind that. Going back to, imaginary worlds, they're sometimes difficult to string together since not only do the characters and the world need to be created by the author, but so do the various and intricate rules. And we're talking like strictly imaginative worlds, like imaginary ones. Like for imaginary worlds, the intricate rules and how physics and magic and various concepts work, that all needs to be created by the author as well, which can be a little bit of a pain in the arse. And there are so many questions that you might have to answer that you don't necessarily think about to make sure that your world makes sense. I mean, what is the history that led up to where the story begins? Does society function differently in the imaginary world compared to the real world? Jobs, gender, race, status, etc. The basic stuff. I mean, is the world expansive and regionally different enough that you should, create a map of some kind? Like, even if it's just a, really simple penciled one, or, there's like an online map maker of some kind. I know that there's some out there. I personally never used them because I'm relatively good at envisioning it, and then even in other cases I just kind of draw my own more often than not. What kinds of natural resources does your world have, and how are they used in terms of metals, lumber, foraging, livestock, that kind of stuff. What belief system or systems exist in the world, in terms of what people believe, faiths, religions, gods, things of that nature. What laws are in place that could affect the characters and or the story, if that's even a thing that is important to the story at all. Is there a family hierarchy that exists in your world? I mean, how do characters and groups communicate with one another? Like, do they have simple mail systems that require horses or wagons? Do they have special gadgetry? I mean, do they have just cell phones? I mean, there are just a lot of potentials. I mean, how is the clothing even fabricated in the world? Does it make sense functionally? I mean, you look at the clothing of this character. I know I've talked in a previous playthrough about character clothing and, how an important aspect of creating clothing is fit versus function, or style versus function. Like, is it more stylized in nature, or does clothing like this serve a purpose, or can both be true? Does your mythical world have myths and legends itself, whether they're true or partially true, or just flat out false. How advanced technologically are the societies in your world? You know, it could be like this, where it does seem to have, you know, lanterns and maybe a little bit of electricity to an extent, or it's kind of more medieval-like, or it's like magical light. Is food hard to find for any of your characters, and if so, why? Yeah, how are illnesses and injuries treated? Is it with is it witchcraft? Is it with magical methods, or is it, you know, special rituals, or with herbs? Like, there's so many possibilities, and those are just a couple of basic ones, really. There's a website that has a lot of great world building specific questions. I can probably link it down in the description below. I believe it's called, let's see if I got this right, nownovel.com/blog/world building questions. Basically, it has hundreds of questions that you could potentially ask in order to, you know, better figure out what's going on with your world. What in the heck?
Was left by Raptor or an Animo slime.
What? Wait, isn't Raptor like a thief or something?
Animo slimes are airborne creatures. They don't leave marks on the ground unless someone stomped on one to take off.
Huh.
Wait, are you telling me people actually do that? Either way, let's make a mental note of these markings. They're very clear. It appears that the elemental markings point this way.
I just happened upon this.
Huh. Well, do you think he ran off ahead? There's only one way to find out. Come on, we should keep following the markings. Ooh, what's that? Looks like something's going on up ahead. It sounds like there's a battle going on. Could that be Raptor? Quick, let's keep going.
What in the heck is going on? I was going for an entirely different task. And suddenly I'm doing whatever the frick this is. Oh, if I keep going this way, I'm gonna run right into an unmarked teleport waypoint. I'll worry about Raptor later. But again, there is a website where you're able to kind of help figure out a lot of this stuff. It's very useful. I've used it for some of my own stories, and I highly recommend it to anybody who is trying to build up their own fantasy world. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to answer... Oh, there's an Animalculus right above the water over here. Oh, there it is. I see the Animalculus now. It's like kind of right over the water in a slightly weird place, but alright. I can work with that. Alright, I managed to get one. Oh, hello.
Cool it.
Come a little closer.
Oh, lost its area of effect. There we go. There we go. That wasn't too bad. But yeah, I can go ahead and just link that, you know, down in the description below, because again, you don't have to answer... Oh my gosh, I almost fricked that up. You don't have to answer all of the questions necessarily, but if it helps better flesh out your world and better explains, you know, what's going on in your world and why it might be going on, it could be incredibly useful information to figure out. And of course, like, even with imaginative or fantasy worlds, research. I mean, any story typically requires a lot of research, no matter the kind of story you're putting together. I mean, this can be true for even fantasy writing. Again, even if your world is completely fictional and imaginary. Oh, okay, hold up, it's somewhere over here. Although first, many fantasy writers will look to previous examples of fantasy stories to get a better idea of how they want their world to work. It's relatively common. Ah, crap. Oh. Is that a gold iron chunk? Are there a couple? Unless, oh no, is that just... Wait. world join request. I'm good, thank you. Consider these kinds of questions too, like why might magic exist in your world? Does it follow the normal laws of physics, or is it entirely beyond comprehension? Is it more simple and elemental in nature? Kind of like it seems the ones here, the ones in Genshin Impact seem to be. Oh, it is just white. It just has a yellow glow because of the sun, I think. Or maybe the surroundings, something like that. But no, kind of like Genshin, is it, you know, simple and elemental in nature, or can it be very diverse and versatile? An example I like to actually think of for that is kind of Black Clover, is that every magic is elemental in nature, but there are so many subdivisions and subclasses and like almost combinations that it's more complex than just, no, you have wind, water, you have animo, cryo, hydro, geo, and then, you know, just whatever it all is, basically. Here we go. I mean, where did the creatures in your world come from? You know, is there a reason they look different from normal animals? You know, how might they reproduce? What designs do they have and why? This can be for ordinary animals or like super fantastical ones even. And again, there are just tons of questions that you could ask. What is the overall culture of your world like? Is it the same or is it very diverse? Does it reflect the other aspects of the world and society? Oh no. There are two of these. I mean, how big is your world? Does it make sense that it's, you know, so big? Is it geographically reasonable? I mean, is it large so your character or characters can explore? Or is it smaller because the setting is largely in the same region? I mean, two good examples I feel like are just, you know, my comic and then Genshin. You know, Genshin requires you to travel across various worlds, so it makes sense that it's very big and geographically diverse. But then a place like my comic, it pretty much only takes place in a single forest because that's where the story takes place. It doesn't, there's no need to explore in any fashion, really. Alright, where is that Animoculus? Oh, there it is. So I did actually need to go on the tree, because otherwise I wouldn't really be able to get this very effectively otherwise. Got it. Alright, I'm with it. Oh my gosh. Another Animoculus? Another one. My gosh, yeah. There's just another Animoculus just chilling right here. Okay, clear out the monster camp. Got it. Okay. Oh, shit.
No one escapes my sights. Go, Barret!
Oh, scheisse. There you have it. All right.
Come a little closer.
Nice try. You're gonna use water, but I'm sorry. You're just not gonna be very good at this. Don't even try. Big. Okay. All right. I'd say in terms of fantasy world building, regardless of the technicalities, world building at its core, it requires effort, imagination, and research. It absolutely does. My personal preference of world building includes, you know, variations of fantasy, notably urban fantasy, which I kind of mentioned before, magical realism, and low fantasy. And
target tracked down by Outrider Amber.
I know, I'm amazing. I've also touched anthropomorphic fantasy as well, which is technically true of my comics, so, you know. But the worlds I've personally developed throughout my stories do share plenty of similarities and differences. Because again, I like to tackle a diverse set of worlds and characters and stories, but there are definitely plenty of commonalities and definitely plenty of, you know, things that tend to be different with a lot of them. A lot of the similarities that my stories share, I do try and follow the real-world laws of physics and chemistry in some capacity for pretty much all of my stories. Obviously with some kind of supernatural or, you know, magical kind of addition or twist to them, but most tend to follow real-world stuff. I do my best to logically explain any of the magical or supernatural capabilities that do exist in the worlds. Some of those explanations, well, a lot of those explanations actually, tend to vary. But either way, I do still try and provide those explanations, or try and figure them out in some way. I do have a very solid idea in my head of what many of the homes of my protagonists look like, and sometimes even beyond that. Like, I have drawn them, or yes, something to that effect in some cases. Another similarity is that I work to develop protagonists and antagonists alike more often than not, as thoroughly as I can based on the laws and history of their worlds. Each of the protagonists, usually one or two per story, has most, if not their entire backstory, mapped out in a way that makes sense with their world and the characters around them. Oh, Springvale, I haven't been here in a while. The clothing and fashion choices across all of my stories are largely similar, and I tend not to deviate too much from that, because when it comes to clothing, I generally lack a lot of knowledge. And when I say I tend not to deviate too much, I probably should have specified too that I tend not to deviate too much from reality. Because, like, most of the clothing and fashion choices, it's just me kind of doing research on what already exists in reality, and then building off of it or adjusting it slightly. Because, again, my knowledge when it comes to fashion in general, not really extensive. And it also doesn't help that I just can't draw fashion, or I can't really draw, like, clothes or humans very well. So that's kind of a pain in the ass. I'm trying to get better at that, though. I've actually started to draw up some, like, ensembles for some of my characters from Dragon Slayers, but I'm also just trying to, in general, draw my human characters more often. Many of the societies in my stories tend to be ideologically similar, particularly when society refers to some kind of other group. I don't know if that entirely makes sense, but I feel like in most societies there tends to be some kind of other. One that I like to actually think about a lot is Ruby, which is an anime by Rooster Teeth. The Faunus, which are basically sort of like humans with animal characteristics, usually like a single characteristic, like they have a tail, they have specific kinds of ears, or something to that effect. But the Faunus are often seen as a sort of other in the society, and that kind of concept is actually similar across a lot of my stories, whether it's positive, negative, secretive, stuff like that. Those are the similarities that all of my stories tend to share with one another. There are a lot of differences. Yep, did find the training dummies. They can withstand the pummeling by a Hilly Turles. They should be able to take whatever your daughter throws at them. You're welcome. Thank you for that.
All for my daughter.
Thank you for that, sir. Okay, let's see if I can, because I still have a little bit more than I want to talk about, just a little bit. Some stories are set in completely imaginary worlds that don't exist and have never existed. Others are more realistic and grounded in nature, and some are just flat out based on reality as it currently stands, with slight changes to how, special things work.
Reading. Alchemy is a craft that has been passed down since ancient times.
Okay.
Its mechanisms are magical and mysterious, completely unlike the principles that shape our understanding of the physical world.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a good example, too, is that you can have instances where, like, a world is so fleshed out with, its elements and its gods, but there's still elements like alchemy that are sort of magical or scientific in nature. It sounded like it seemed more scientific in nature, or maybe a combination of scientific and magical, but there are still limitations that there's still sort of like limitations that they don't know about, or there can be unexpected effects that they might not know about. Continuing on with the differences in my own personal stories, but I mean, a huge one is that I've used many varying combinations of superpowered humans, demons, talking animals, monsters, spirits and ghosts, gods, androids, genetic modification, and magic across all my stories. Like, again, to varying degrees, in varying combinations, and you know, all kinds of different strengths, the weaknesses, risks, capabilities. There's a lot I have experimented with on the fantastical side of things, a lot. Some world histories are very light and more childlike in nature. I can definitely think a couple of stories that applies to. Others are more sincere and sensitive, and a few actually have some really dark and mature undertones. Not too many. I don't usually touch those. Like, I certainly touch more mature topics, but there are some that are just really dark and horrifying in their own ways. Again, not too many, but definitely a few. Some worlds incorporate advanced technology, others have simple technology similar to ours, and a few are very underdeveloped and simple on the technological front. Thank you for the sorry. My hoochie teeny. Thank you.
Thank goodness, the Knights of Favonius have arrived. The Hilly Turles won't dare pursue me any longer.
What happened?
I can't believe it, but the Hilly Turles attacked our carts.
Why would they do that?
Luckily, I outran them.
Good job.
Hilly Turles? But I thought the Knights of Favonius had cleared out most of the Hilly Turle camps around these parts.
Yeah,
It's a small
I helped
camp
with that.
not too far from the village. The route I take on my delivery runs ensures I steer clear of it. But today, some crazy fellow suddenly fell out of the sky and landed right in the
Raptor,
camp.
maybe?
Now, who does that remind me of?
Oh, it really riled them up. They chased the funny-looking fellow as he fled, which brought them out into the open.
That'll do it.
I managed to get away, but they smashed my fruit carts to smithereens. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do when the merchant caravan gets here tomorrow.
Funny looking? In what way?
Oh, he was holding on to something. Must have been heavy because he couldn't glide in a straight line to save his life. Maybe that's why he fell.
I forget what happened with Raptor.
Honestly, people like that shouldn't be allowed in the skies. It doesn't take a genius to know you're not supposed to carry heavy objects while gliding. I'm gonna report that idiot and make sure he gets his license revoked.
Heavy object? The artifact? This could well be our guy. Tell me, did you see which way he went?
I managed to catch a glimpse as I ran from the Hilly Turles. I think he went that way.
Seems like a strong lead.
What
with
way?
the chase. Oh,
Yeah.
and don't worry. As soon as I get back, I'll tell the Knights to mop up the rest of the Hilly Turles as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely do that. He said that way, but that did not indicate which way that was. I'm just saying that right now. But yeah, last little difference too, but some of the societies and governments within my stories are well developed. Some, not so much. That's kind of a little bit less of a fundamental difference. Oh, jeez.
Be gone!
Really?
Picked the wrong test subject.
The wrong test subject? I'm sorry?
Apart from the Hilly Turles, there's a bunch of funny-looking people, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Judging from the type of wind gliders they've gone, I'd say this lot is with Raptor.
Yeah,
If that's the case, what are they hanging around here for? I wonder. Well, this measly bunch can't slow us down, that's for sure. But we also haven't found the artifact, which means Raptor still has it on him. Forget these guys. Come on, let's...
Goodness gracious.
The elemental power on the artifact must have worn off. Raptor must have realized the markings would give away his position and sent his minions to slow us down. That way, when the effect wears off, he can make his escape. He won't
fair
get away
enough.
with this. After him!
Okay. Here's to hoping we can find it. Oh, hold up. There's an Animalculus around here. Around each perch. Many of the similarities and differences in my stories do come from personal preference, but I've still worked really hard to, make them all as uniquely apart from one another as I possibly can. And building a world for your story to take place and for your characters to live in is an important thing to figure out. It's also important to help research and develop it as well. Goodness gracious. Raptor's hideout. Okay. Recommended party level 4. I have no idea what my current party level is, but I'm confident I should be fine. I've clearly been doing pretty good already. let's go with that. But, you know, because the setting is one of the main points of focus when it comes to writing a story.
Raptor must be up. However, it looks like the only way we can. But there's a ton of enemies below. If we're gonna do this, we'll have to glide and defeat them in one fell. You still had one stage. Yeah, but what's that gotta do with it? How about we make this the third and final stage of your glide? Are you sure that's how the exam is supposed to go? It's a custom version of the exam, designed by yours truly. Besides,
sure,
the normal
I'll take
version
it.
of the exam wouldn't be fit for the hero of Mondstadt herself.
Yeah.
So, what do you say?
I'm focused on Raptor.
Prepare for takeoff. Raptor awaits you once you defeat all these enemies. Then that gliding license is yours.
Sweetness. I have to remember, because I can keep yourself afloat while evading enemy attacks. While gliding, you can drop bombs. I can? How? Okay. Okay, so I gotta do it with E. This is okay. Alright, got it. At least I think I do. Oh my goodness. Goodness great. I can't. Okay. Alright, I really gotta pay attention to this. Holy cannoli. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. It wasn't really made clear if I have to stay in the air the entire time, but I'm going to assume that's kind of what needs to happen.
Nice! You breezed through it.
Yup.
You're a natural. I knew you'd be fine. All that's left now is to grab ourselves a raptor.
Yep, let's go grab Raptor now, shall we? But yeah, world building, regardless, is very important for fantasy stories in particular, because the world building of fantasy stories is usually what the world building itself is what sets it apart from other genres more often than not. Okay, let's see if I can. Boop. And you died. Hehehehe. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, world building is knowing what rules dictate what happens in the world, what history has occurred that affects it, and, you know, how the world affects the character and those surrounding them. There are other concepts, but those are definitely the big ones, I'm sure. World building can get very complex. There is no denying that. And you don't have to answer every question in order to figure out them, in order to figure out, like, the general world building aspects in general. You know, you don't have to figure out all the little details. I wonder. Oh, cool. But yeah, you don't have to figure out all the little bits and pieces about, you know, politics, ideologies, food, nature, clothing, geography, all that stuff. But you should definitely focus on answering the questions that are important to the story. And, you know, if all those categories are important to the story, then trying to figure them out would probably be a good thing. What is going on here? Because there's this thing, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. It's gotta be a puzzle. Oh, hold up. Oh, the lamp was right in that way. Ah, I see now. Oh, the heck was that? Did you see that? She just like slow climbed over it. Alright, so having her was definitely valuable. Oh boy. Boop. And Shabba-da-booski. Oh! Shabba-da-booski. Oh, you're still alive. Not for long, you aren't. Oh, crap!
So hard.
Crap on a cracker, man.
Freeze! Ah! Ah!
You're in for a little shock.
Superconduct, huh?
Come a little
Superconduct
closer.
this.
You're in for a little shock. Yep.
Huh?
Come a little closer.
Oh! I didn't see that. Oh, come on, show your face again. There you go. Here we go. Activate wind current. Yes, please. Hang on. Seems to be a little bit of a room over here, maybe. No, it is not. It is just certain death. Don't be blaming me for what happened in that last room. Or in that last little attempt there. I did not mean to do that. Nice try. Nice try again, please. You guys weren't even that difficult. It was just 2 archers, too. I could take out 1 in 2 hits, you know, provided I could actually hit it, you know. Oh my goodness. Boop, boop, boop. Alright. Alright.
It looks like there's no way across. Ugh, he must be around here somewhere.
Over there!
If you insist on chasing me, so be it. Huh? Who brought the little girl?
What little girl?
You must be Raptor. You can't escape.
I don't need to escape. There's no way you can make it over here.
I digress.
It is pretty high. And quite far.
Nah, distance is kind of irrelevant, but yeah, the height
Oh,
is a
little
problem.
Girl, why don't you run along home now and let your leader deal with this? Don't worry. I promise that once the Grandmaster gets here, I'll surrender immediately.
Grandmaster.
Hey, watch it. You're talking to a Knights of Favonius outrider. You'll be sorry when I arrest you.
Let's examine our surroundings.
You're right.
Yeah.
Ugh, he's right there in front of us. If only we could glide across.
So how did he get across?
Grappling hook would make the
If
most
it's
sense.
too far to glide, it's definitely too far for anything like that.
There's also no sign of an anchor point.
True.
Bye-bye, kiddo.
Oh no, he's getting away!
Ugh, we can't hesitate any longer. The
We
only
can create
way
our
to get
own wind
across is
gust,
to
like
glide
frickin'
there.
Rivali in Breath of the Wild.
But...
Don't worry. I'm the gliding champion of Mondstadt, remember? If Raptor can do it, I can do it too.
Oi, Outrider! You
Okay.
have less chance of surviving this than jumping off the Animo God statue in Mondstadt without your wind glider.
Okay. I'm with Amber. Heck
Here's your
yeah.
point. If you rule out everything that's completely impossible, gliding is the only idea left.
Remember that book I lent you? The one I thought was the gliding manual, but wasn't?
Yeah.
The first birds couldn't fly. Flight was their reward for their courage to plunge into the canyon. Be my witness.
Go, go,
Raptor
go.
says I'll never make it. But if you listen carefully...
Oh?
Wait! Stop! You'll never make it! Come on, off you go now.
There's
Back
maybe some
home
kind of
like a good
invisible
little
wind current.
girl.
Maybe something like
Raptor
that.
says I'll never make it. But if you listen carefully...
Or if you have to, or there are gusts that come at a certain
The
time.
wind. The wind says I will make it. And that's good enough for me.
Okay. We.
Amber, no! You're gonna fall! You're gonna fall! It's a wind current! She's gliding! Amber's gliding!
Yup. Of course, yeah, it's like an invisible
Known
current.
about the wind current. There's no way you would have jumped otherwise.
The wind takes care of those who have courage. Now sit still and await your arrest, like a good little boy.
Ooh, wet. You know what that means? They can get supercharged.
Here's something special. Cool it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right,
You guys
I
ain't
got him.
nothing.
I only noticed the wind current from in the air, and it's the only one. It would be suicide to try and escape in the direction Raptor was going. In other words, the only way Raptor could have gotten out would be this way, past us.
Aha! So he was just trying to fool us by acting smug.
Yep.
In the hope that we would just give up and leave.
Big shocker there. Come on.
Little did he know, we're not so easily fooled.
Nope.
It was all thanks to your sharp thinking. Just like a wise man once said, once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth.
Yeah, I said something like
At the
that.
end of the day, gliding is 7 parts technique, 3 parts instinct, and then 90 parts courage.
What you did now looked more like 99 parts courage.
It was just like in my first gliding exam.
Nice.
I was super nervous, but in the end, there was nothing to be afraid of, and I passed no problem. I
Nice.
kinda missed that nervous rush in the exams I've done since then. It just wasn't the same.
Sorry. Paimon thought you said you passed no problem. What do you mean exams since then?
Well, you see, the thing is, Mondstadt is all no glide zone this, no landing zone that. Every time I get my license, it keeps getting revoked. I must have taken the exam about 15 times altogether.
What?
But I always pass the first time. I guess my little gliding manual ain't so bad after all.
Let's go and get a copy of the real gliding manual from acting Grandmaster Jean sometime.
Sounds good.
I'll head off first because I need to escort Raptor back to the city.
Good luck.
Once you're back in the city, don't forget to come find me at the cathedral. I'll issue your gliding license there.
Sweetness. Ba-ba-da-boopy.
She just can't sit still, can she? Guess that's why she's the outrider. When this is all
Man,
done and
are you
dusted,
really surprised?
let's head to the cathedral in Mondstadt.
Leave domain. Yes, please. I've had quite enough of this dungeon. This felt longer and more extensive, which I feel like is only going to continue to become like that. Oh, goodness gracious. I'd say that actually came pretty well timed because I can't think of anything else that I wanted to talk about in terms of fantasy world building. I hope it didn't sound like I was rambling on too much, and I do hope that everything made sense because, again, talking at the same time as I'm gaming can be a little tricky to do sometimes. I'm still trying to get used to it. I am trying to do it a little bit more frequently. But obviously, you know, I still have quite a bit to learn. I still have a lot more practice to actually deal with. I was still glad to be able to, you know, do this session and talk a little more about fantasy world building because, again, it's a very complex topic, but it's something you can still figure out. And, you know, it helps if you have, well, a helping hand. And I do hope that I was able to provide that. If something didn't necessarily make sense in the grand scheme of things, feel free to let me know, because then that tells me that I might need to work a little bit on my talking while gaming type videos. Especially if I'm talking about a serious subject that does require a little more thought and effort to kind of get across. If you know what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make my way to Mondstadt. I'm not going to enter the cathedral quite yet to get my license, but I will at least try and make it back to Mondstadt so that when I do actually start the game again another time, I can just start straight away in Mondstadt. Well, actually not entirely true. I might actually look through my inventory and my character stats in Mondstadt and then probably quit, but none of you guys need to see that. None of you guys want to see that. I'm going the wrong way. I just realized I was going the complete wrong way. Never mind. I'm just gonna... No, I'm not even gonna... I'm just gonna make my way, and I'm just gonna continue talking until this video ends. And then I'm gonna be like, okay, quit and save. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And again, if I was a little bit incoherent throughout any of this, let me know. It's important that I know that. It really is. I mean, it tells me what I need to, you know, work on in terms of, you know, in terms of these kinds of content. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I would like to make some more Genshin related content, because, you know, I would like to talk more story related stuff. The next one, I think I almost finalized the script. I just need to polish it up a little bit, I think. Because it's not going to be quite as exciting of a topic, but I think it's still important nonetheless. And I also may not have a lot of experience with this next upcoming topic, but I have learned a little bit, and I think it's still important that I talk about it as much as I can. So, until then, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Jeez, how many times I've been said that? I don't even know, honestly. I've just been talking so much today for all the videos I've been recording. Not that it's a bad thing, I need to do that. Remember, I also do have a Patreon. You know, lots of people get some good stuff from the Patreon content. Early access to stuff, exclusive access of special inside details on video, art, and writing projects. Just a variety of stuff. And I'm getting most of my earnings from Patreon now. I'm not really getting any from YouTube anymore, so, you know, any Patreon support means that I can continue working on YouTube content, because I work on it all by myself. I do all the editing and whatnot, so there's a lot of work that goes into that stuff. I guess that's pretty much all I got otherwise, so as usual, until the next video, guys, check you laters.